Okay, I think I found it. Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. Okay. Okay, I can see the comments coming in. Yes, my laptop has crashed. This is the second time it's happened. So hopefully I can get this figured out. But hello. Welcome. Keep saying hi. I apologize. So apologize. I know that your time is super valuable. So we're gonna get into it. But keep saying hi. Thank you so much for the shout out, Katie. Yes, I am a little bit frazzled. It's Wednesday, it's hump day, and we all need a little bit of motivation on hump day, don't we? So that's kind of what I want to do a little bit of. Okay, so let's give each other a virtual tap on the back. Can you just put like some clap emojis or something in the comments? Because let's give each other some pep, some motivation. We are halfway through week 1. How cool has it been? Can you tell us in the chat how long it's like, you know, how you've been going, how you've been feeling with everything? Oh no. Holy smokes. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I promise that this will happen. I'm like closing. I'm going to try to close every single thing that might be. Oh no. It looks like I've frozen again. Am I back on? Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. This is going to happen. All right. So before we get into it all, I did want to create some pep. Thank you guys for hanging with me. I know this is live, right? This is the joys of live. And yes, I think my MacBook is going to have to go to hospital for sure. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start with a spotlight. So I want to spotlight Melissa because OMG, Melissa, your story has us all just like, like the fact that you're here and doing the thing, even through everything, I cannot applaud that enough. So thank you for joining and being part of this challenge and really embracing it. You have been amazing. So that is our spotlight today. And when we go live tomorrow, we'll have another spotlight as well. We are doing these daily spotlights, really rewarding people who are engaging, who are doing the thing, who are getting results, who are helping each other. So please, in the Facebook group, get engaged, get doing it. This is so much fun, and it's gonna. Okay. I think I'm back on. You know what? I'm going to skip all of the intro. I am just going to introduce you to our guest today. Oops. Let me turn my camera back on. I'm going to introduce our guest today because I want to get straight into this topic of creating a super hyper-discoverable podcast. Okay, so Adam Schaeuble, I met him at the CX event this year, and I could not believe that we hadn't met before. Like, he's just such a fountain of knowledge on all things podcasting, especially how to get your podcast discovered and how to get clients from your podcast, which is exactly what he's going to be teaching us in today's expert workshop. Okay, so let me know in the comments. I think everyone is ready to get into this, right? Ready to get into the anatomy of a hyper-discoverable podcast. All right, let's do this thing.
My friends, it's your buddy Adam Schaeuble from Podcasting Business School. I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this challenge. And when Deirdre tagged me in to talk about podcast growth optimization with organic discoverability, with the name of your show and with your podcast art, I was super excited. I've been working with her a little bit, some ideas about her show. And these are strategies that I've used. My listeners for Podcasting Business School use them, and my clients use them. We're not just seeing a few downloads being grown here. We're talking about 2x, 5x, 10x where you're at currently by using these strategies. Normally people pay me for this advice. Deirdre is my pod pal, and I'm hooking you up. So buckle up. This is going to be effective if you implement it correctly. First, a little bit about my show. What is up, my friends? It's your buddy Adam Schaeuble from Podcasting Business School. I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this challenge. And when Deirdre tagged me in to talk about podcast growth optimization with organic discoverability, with the name of your show, and with your podcast art. I was super excited. I've been working with her a little bit, some ideas about her show. And these are strategies that I've used. My listeners for Podcasting Business School use them, and my clients use them. We're not just seeing a few downloads being grown here. We're talking about 2x, 5x, 10x where you're at currently by using these strategies. Normally people pay me for this advice. Deirdre is my pod pal, and I'm hooking you up. So buckle up. This is going to be effective if you implement it correctly. First, a little bit about my shows in case you want to dive into those as additional resources. I've got 2 active podcasts right now. I've been podcasting since 2015. And Podcasting Business School is my main twice per week podcast. We're approaching episode 500 at the time of this recording. So you've got 500 plus episodes to binge listen to, and new content comes out every Tuesday and every Friday. Tuesday is usually a solo episode with me teaching. Friday is a podcast audit with one of my audience members. I also have a 21 episode limited series podcast called Podcast Monetization Tips. If your main purpose of having a podcast is to acquire clients for your programs, products, and services, then give that a listen. It's like a 21 episode audio course on how to do that. My main brand goal is to help service providers learn how to leverage a podcast to build an online business and get more clients. Now, the first topic that we're going to dive into with my presentation time today is what I refer to as the perfect podcast name formula. Let me drop a bomb on you right now. A lot of you, I would say most of you that have podcasts are not getting the growth and the download numbers that you should. And the number one reason for that is the name of your show. Your title of your podcast is the number one reason why your ideal listeners are not finding you. All right. And the reason for this is that we are creatives and we get too cute and too creative with the names of our shows. And most people just don't understand how organic discoverability works. I don't even use the term SEO anymore because I feel like that drives people into thinking like YouTube and website and blog growth. Podcast SEO or discoverability, what I call organic discoverability, is totally different. And we have to think about it in terms of what's happening on the search bar on Apple and the search bar on Spotify. So I'm going to give you my perfect podcast name formula. And if you follow this, and a lot of you are going to need to rebrand your show, you will see massive growth. I guarantee that. All right. So our podcast name carries the most SEO power or the discoverability power. So when you look at searchability, discoverability, the name of your show has absolutely the most power by far. All right. That's why we can't just name it the Awesome Adam Show, because nobody is searching for the Awesome Adam or show. None of those words are searchable. So there are 3 rules to the perfect podcast name formula. As far as when people, especially if people are paying me, this is a must. These 3 things must be checked off. All right. Number 1, when I read the name of your show, I need to know what it's about with no further explanation. Remember, you are not there living in the search bar, able to explain what the creative name of your show actually means. All right. If it's an inside joke and nobody gets it, then you're left crying because nobody's listening to the show. Nobody's finding it. All right. That's the first question. You have to answer with the name of your show. What is the show about? Question number 2 is, who is the show for? All right. Who should be listening? That should be just very, very to the point and very easy to understand by the name of the show. Who is it for? The third thing is I need at least 2 keywords, 2 terms that people are searching in the Apple search bar and or the Spotify search bar. So what's the show about? Who is the show for? At least 2 keywords. If you can check all 3 boxes, you will see nice and steady organic growth. That is organic discoverability, pod pals. All right. So bonus points. The first word in the name of a show has even more power. So you don't want like a number or the word "the" as the first word in the title of your show. So even if you've got a show called The Business Show for New Entrepreneurs or something like that, you can have that in your art. You can call it The Business Show for New Entrepreneurs, verbally. But I would just take the word the off of the title when you enter it into Libsyn or Buzzsprout or wherever you host your show. Just take the word the off the beginning so that it's the first word is business. My main show, Podcasting Business School, the first word is podcasting. So when people are searching podcasting, I carry a lot of weight there. I show up. All right. So we had to make sure we're making that first word in the title. That's the big keyword. That's the big search term that we want to show up for. If you wanted to optimize, that's the way that we go. All right. Now let's talk about a template to use. This is my perfect podcast name template. So it is big keyword, tips, conversations, discussions for keyword, and keyword. So you can look at my limited series podcast. I use this formula and it does really well for me. Podcast monetization tips for online coaches, consultants, and service providers. So podcast monetization is the big keyword. And then online coaches, consultants, and service providers are the sub keywords. You know exactly what it's about. Podcast monetization tips, you know exactly who it's for. Online coaches, consultants, and service providers. And we've got 4 keywords in there, right? Bonus points. So apply this to your podcast name. You're gonna have to rework it. Most of you have weird titles that don't make any sense. And I'll give you an example for my brand here in a minute. But well, I'm going to give it to you right now. So the original name of Podcasting Business School was Casting the Pod. A podcast about podcasting called Casting the Pod. Ha ha, so funny. Inside joke. Nobody got it. Nobody listened. I did 100 episodes as Casting the Pod, and my downloads were terrible. Less than 100 per episode for sure. And when I switched to Podcasting Business School, same content, how to build an online business, get clients, in the podcasting space. Now, organic discoverability, this formula that I just unpacked over the last 7 minutes, it started working for me. All of a sudden, 2x, 5x, 10x. So at the time of recording, I've got over 500,000 downloads on Podcasting Business School. And in the first 100 episodes, we're just scraping by at like 52 downloads per episode or something like that. So this really, really works. Casting the Pod was a show name that nobody got. Nobody is searching the terms casting, the, or pod for a show like mine. Look at the individual words in the name that you currently have for your podcast and ask yourself individually, is anybody searching for any of those terms that is looking for a show like yours? If not, we're in big trouble. And again, the name of your show will be the number one reason why it doesn't grow. One last thing on the name. A lot of people get tied into the brand, like, oh, my brand is Casting the Pod or Adam's Awesomeness or Be Awesome with Adam. And so let's say your website is Be Awesome with Adam and your book is called Be Awesome with Adam and you've got an offer called Be Awesome with Adam. If you make Be Awesome with Adam the name of your podcast, it's really going to suck because no one's going to find it. The show itself won't suck. I'm sure it's great content. It's awesome content. Be Awesome with Adam, but no one will find it. So you have to use my formula. The name of your show does not have to fit in with all your other brand stuff. And when people try to force that square peg into a round hole, it does not work. All right. So you have to break free of what your website name is, what your brand name is, what your book name is. Because if it doesn't fit that formula, it won't work. If you follow the 3 steps, when I read the name, I want to know who it's for, what it's about, at least 2 keywords. You do that, it's going to win. All right. So let's move on and talk about your show art, your show logo. So the logo of your podcast. Let's dive into that next. And we're going to optimize it because organic discoverability is really a 2-leg relay race. The first leg is organic discoverability with the perfect podcast naming formula. But that only gets us to that part on Apple Podcasts or Spotify where there's lots of shows that showed up for whatever. So if somebody puts in podcasting tips, Podcasting Business School, my show is going to show up in the first 1, 2, or 3 images, but there's going to be 15 or 20. You can scroll and see lots and lots. All right. That's the second leg of the fight here, the second leg of the race, because now our search terms, our keywords worked, but we're fighting out for who gets clicked on next. And that's the art. So you can't mess with the art and have art that's hard to read or a big picture of your face and nothing else. So let's talk about optimizing your podcast logo, your podcast art. And I'm not talking about individual episodes. I'm talking about the brand of your podcast, the logo. All right. That's what we're talking about here. So let's optimize that a little bit. So kind of like what I just said, the keywords will bring the right people, but your show art has to close the deal. And we have to keep in mind that several shows are on that phone screen. So a lot of people design their podcast art on like Canva and it's on their computer and they see it all blown up and big and like, oh, it's perfect. But that little cursive squiggly writing is going to be invisible on a tiny phone screen with a ton of other images on there. All right. Or if it's, a lighter shade of white and a darker shade of gray, and it's hard to read, it's just not going to work. So we have to think about how do we attract their attention first to our show art and get them to click on that. Because, for those of you that search on Apple or Spotify for new shows and you're like, I'm interested in investing in real estate. So I'm going to put in real estate investing and see what pops up. You're probably going to pick one show, maybe two, and download some episodes. You're not going to go back and be like, what was that fifth one that I scrolled past because it was boring looking? Like, that's not going to work. All right. So how do we attract their attention and get them to click on our podcast art first? Let's talk. So I've got a bunch of tips right here. First tip is the text needs to be the star of the show. The text, not your face. All right. Huge mistake I see. You can just go on any podcast player app and you see giant pictures of people's faces, little tiny text. If I don't know who you are, if you put your face up on a billboard in Times Square and nobody knows who you are, don't put a giant picture of your face on your podcast art. That is valuable real estate. You can put your face on there, but the text needs to be the star of the show. Get the text on there so it's thick, easy to read font, make it big, and then there'll be little areas of blank space. That's where you put your face. The text needs to be the star of the show, not your face. Thick, easy to read text. Don't use cursive. Don't use squiggly font. Thick. I love League Spartan. League Spartan is my number one favorite podcast art font to use on Canva. Use the light dark rule. So if you've got a dark background, use light font. If you've got light background, use dark font. I see some people who are like dark red background with dark brown font or dark green font. And it's just like, it looks weird. It doesn't show up well. Another thing, like if you are putting your picture on there, if you have images on there and you have lighter skin, then do a dark background, or vice versa. So you don't disappear into the background, like your hair color, make sure that doesn't disappear in the background. So think about the light dark rule so that you've got lighter background or images and the opposite with the font and the text that you're using. Solid. So speaking about backgrounds, use a solid background color. My God, people put all kinds of weird stuff in there and it makes all the text hard to read. If you've got this really busy background with, unicorns and rainbows and all kinds of lightning bolts and stuff flashing around, and it's going through text that's usually too small and hard to read anyway, it's going to be darn near impossible to read what this show's about. And that's going to hurt you. I like using a shadow box with the title extension or the keyword. So you have that who it's for, a longer title extension. Use a shadow box, usually at the bottom of the image, to highlight those words. I really like highlighting one keyword in a color that isn't anywhere else on the art. So something that's really like, okay, our keywords are drawing them in, but what's the word that we want to draw their eyeballs to immediately so they're more likely to tap on our image and start downloading our episodes first. All right. And then after all this, once the text is optimized, then use any empty spaces for other images, a podcast microphone, a flower, a rocket ship, a unicorn, your headshot, whatever. But make the text be the star of the show first so it's optimized for readability on a phone, on a tiny phone screen. Just imagine it's an iPhone 8, not even one of the big iPhones. It's an iPhone 8 like what I've got, and it's got a button in the middle, and nobody has them anymore, but I do, and I want to see your art so that I can read the text on the art. And it's not just a big old picture of your face up on there. And I'm going, who the hell is this? And what is this show about? All right. So let's go through some examples. So this is my limited series podcast where I use it. I optimized it with the formula I just unpacked there. So big, thick, League Spartan font. Most important word in this entire image is the word monetization. So I made it go all the way across the image. I made it pink, a color that there's no other, that's not anywhere else on the art right here. hot pink monetization. It draws the eyeballs to it, right? We know what it's about. We know who it's for. I had some room up in the top. Could put my face on there, but I chose to put a little microphone. All right. So podcast monetization tips, nice and easy to read. All right. Now, this is one of my clients, Dr. Katrin. She's got the pet behavior chat. So pet behavior is the highlighted word. She kind of spiced it up with the paw prints and things in there, and it's super easy to read. All right. And she had plenty of room on there to kind of add some pizzazz to it. Another one of my clients, Nutritional Therapy and Wellness Podcast. Nutritional therapy highlighted, different color. I fought them on the word wellness being green with the green background. That wasn't my choice, but they wanted to go with that. So I don't win every battle, but otherwise, we know what this is about. We know who it's for, and it's very easy to read. The words are the star of the show here. All right, now these aren't clients of mine, these next few examples, but these are just really well done names and art. Crypto news alerts. I know exactly what this is about. I know who it's for. Easy to read font. It's not distracting. I see the Bitcoin symbol up there. Crypto is giant, easy to read, and this is like one of the number one podcasts in the crypto space. The Investing for Beginners podcast. I like how the yellow is highlighting investing and beginners. Easy to read, big font, simple, not distracting. The art isn't the time to distract our audience. All right. We want them to be laser focused on exactly what this is about and who it's for. Now, let's unfortunately dive into a few that are not so awesome. These are just random people. I don't know these people. Hopefully you don't know them, but if you do, you can feel free to pass along my tips. I'm not being mean. I'm just like, hey, if any of these people had approached me for like a podcast audit on my show or paid me, especially for coaching, then this is exactly what I would tell them. So the Maverick Mompreneur podcast, with this one, Ashley needs to shrink her picture down. She's way too big on there. We need to change that mompreneur font. That's going to be almost unreadable on a phone screen. But that's an important word. So I do like highlighting it in a way, but I would make the word mompreneur the star of the show, not Maverick on that one. So I'd make mompreneur go all the way across, shrink Ashley's picture down. I like her subtitle, Online Business and Marketing for Female Entrepreneurs. If I were her, I would make that the name of the show, not Maverick Mompreneur. So just some pro tips for Ashley there. You can drop it. I don't know what the show is about. It's her holding her book. Again, it's hard to read, even that you can drop it. So she needs to rebrand her show with a better name, shrink her image down, get big, thick, chunky text on there, and let's let people know what this is about and who it's for. So that's my thoughts on this one. Okay, this one it's hard to read. It's called Weight Loss. We know what it's about, but it's like somebody sitting there drinking some water, and it's called Weight Loss. So, and the image is even kind of off center and it's kind of weird. So, there's lots to be done here. We need to use my naming formula, and we need to redo the art so that it's easy to read the name once we get it up on there. Again, this is a really good example of having just an image in the background instead of a solid color. Like it makes weight loss really hard to read. Now, the same people created a show called Personal Growth, where people are just fighting in the background. Hard to read, busy image in the background. They probably thought it was cool. Personal growth, that's a good search term, but nobody's going to click on this because it's hard to tell what the hell is happening, or what is this about boxing? I don't know. All right. This one right here is interesting because, like, why would you do a white background, white clothes, and white font? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm sure this is a great show. Let's see, Tiffany. I'm sure Tiffany is a great podcast host. I think when I looked this one up, she's got like hundreds of episodes or something like that. Like, she's got a lot of content out there, but she probably paid somebody for some bad advice and like, hey, this looks really great. It's clean, it's white, but this is going to be impossible to read. And no one's going to click on this when it comes to this with 10 other images on the screen, on a phone screen. All right. So that is a tough one. Now, I think this is our last one. Fruition mindset. Again, this is one where we got to shrink her down a little bit in that corner, make the words the star of the show. Fruition mindset. I don't know what that's about. I don't know who it's for, but look at this subtitle. I would make that the title. Mindset coaching for Christian entrepreneurs. I love that as the name of the show. So hopefully you guys are getting with some of these examples, like fruition mindset. We're too creative. We're too cutesy with that. Maybe she's got a book called Fruition Mindset, or that's her blog, or that's her website name, or that's her IG handle. But I'm telling you, as a podcast name, I'm naming this thing Mindset Coaching for Christian Entrepreneurs. I know what that's about. I know who it's for. She's probably trying to get clients with her show. And I like that a ton better than Fruition Mindset. So those are just some examples of what I would do if these people were paying me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this 20-minute presentation here. I've got a few connection opportunities here. These are all freebies on my website. If you go to my website, podcastingbusiness.school, click on the freebie button. You can do things like podcast audits. You can come on my show for a podcast audit. I'll give you 30 minutes of free coaching, and that will be released as an episode of the show. I do those every single Friday on my show. You can check it out. Once per month, I do a Pod Pals Zoom party. I invite my audience members on. We'll have 12 to 15 audience members on for a community style episode. I'll do a little talking on a specific topic. We'll open up the floor for Q&A and discussion about that topic. And then we do podcaster speed dating at the end, where everybody gets to shout out their show and say who they're looking for as a guest, or if they want to be a guest on other people's shows, what kind of shows they're looking to be a guest on. And I also have a resource called the Podcast Growth Scorecard. Check that out if you're looking to grow your show with effort-based marketing strategies. So today we talked about organic discoverability, the other side of the coin, effort-based marketing, how to use social media, how to get be a guest on other people's podcasts, how to do paid marketing strategies. That's what the Podcast Growth Scorecard is all about. I appreciate you all for being a part of this challenge. Thanks to Capsho, thanks to Ecamm. Appreciate you. And hopefully, we'll be able to connect inside the group. So if you need anything, reach out, podcastingbusiness.school. And with that, as I sign off on my show every single week, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Ooh, wow. Like those were, let me know in the chat, was that just like a deluge of just nuggets that were coming at you? And who here is going to do a little bit of rebranding on their podcast? Because I was taking notes, and let me tell you, I'm definitely going to be doing some of this stuff as well. So thank you for hanging with us. I know, and I do apologize for all of the tech issues. I'm going to try to nurture my MacBook back to good health. That is on my to-do list for today, so that tomorrow when we're back, we're doing another live expert workshop. It's this time is going to be live with our special guest Louise Cameo from BizBros, and we're going to be talking about the short form video workflow that gets results. Okay, so if you are looking to do short form videos, or if you're currently doing them, then you're going to want to join us for tomorrow's expert workshop. You can get that in the schedule. And if you do not have the schedule, then get our hub. It's got everything on there. And if you think it's missing something, let us know so we can work it in there. But it's literally got everything from your bingo card to your badge, trophy case, but also it's got the schedule. It's got all the information that you will need to actually get going and keep doing the thing in this challenge. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much. If you are still catching up, please do, because we have a badge that we want to award you at the end of this week. This is the week one badge, which you can't see because it's for people who win it. They will get it in their emails. But all you have to do to get this badge is to publish every day of this week, 5 days. If you haven't done your recording yet, either your podcast or your show, then get that, do that, and then put it into Capsho, and you will get each of your posts, social media posts. I'm loving seeing everyone in the group posting their results and what they're posting. It's been so inspiring. It's so amazing to be doing this with you. So thank you for playing along. It's been amazing. And don't forget that by doing all of this, we have prizes to give out. Actually, tomorrow on tomorrow's live, we're actually going to be giving out a prize as well. So definitely come join us for the fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you in the Facebook group. Let me put myself back on. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to the Ecamm team. You guys have been amazing. Thanks, Paul, for holding down the fort as we've been dealing with some of these tech challenges. But I really do appreciate you, and I'll see you in the Facebook group.